Yo, what is poppin', my guys? It is your boy Ashley, and today we are coming at you with our Week 10 game of the IBA. So this is our first repeat of the season. This is our divisional opponent. This was our Week 1 opponent. We actually did grab the win, I think 3-0 last time by passing speed from Scolipede into Hoopa, and then having Hoopa sweep through the game in the end. Or I think I can't remember, honestly. We might have won with Scolipede, but what I do remember for 100% for a fact was that we brought Speed Passing Scolipede, we brought Hoopa, we brought regular defensive Gliscor, we did not have Swampert or Whimsicott, and we brought special, I believe, Electros. So, Ben has also made some transactions. I do not think he had Gengar the last time that we played. I think he might have made one more, I cannot remember. But I do know that last time he brought Excadrill with no sand, and this time he brought sand with no Excadrill. So he brought an entirely different team, as did I. So the last match doesn't really have any sway or effect in this match as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to go ahead and talk about my team real quick, the prep that I brought. First of all, we have Scolipede. This is Mega Horn, Earthquake, Swords Dance, and Rock Slide, because a +2 Earthquake will obliterate Tyranitar as well as Gengar. Rock Slide will easily take care of Staraptor and Thundurus, and the Virizion and the Flygon will both drop most of the time, depending on how bulky they are, to a +2 Mega Horn. So if I can get rocks up and play the chip game, this set can very easily win me the game. Decided not to pass this time because I did pass last time, so I feel like he probably would have prepped for that, because obviously if you play against somebody and you lose to a certain thing, you want to prep better for it the next time. So I figure bringing offensive Scolipede this time will be the wave. Next up, we have Swampert. Now, this has Stealth Rocks, Ice Beam, Scald, and Roar. As you'll see, Ice Beam and Scald actually hits pretty much everything on his team. I'm not super effectively hitting the Gengar, but everything else on his team I can hit for super effective damage, which is really, really nice to have on a defensive Pokemon. Roar is really nice for shuffling out. Like if I make once I get the rocks up, I can bring this thing in on Tyranitar or Excadrill. I had originally thought, as long as it's not SD'd up, and be able to tank 2 hits and get the Roar off, potentially dragging in something else that doesn't want to be there into the rocks. Like getting any kind of damage on that Staraptor would be fantastic, and since we are physically defensive, Staraptor really couldn't do much to it anyway. There's the chance that Thundurus is packing the Grass Knot, but we can play around that. If he's Specs or if he's Scarf, then that doesn't really matter, because then we can just very easily go into a Mon like Scolipede and start setting up for free, because Grass Knot does nothing to Scolipede. So yeah, there's also Rindoberry Swampert, just to be able to take, as long as he hasn't SD'd up with Virizion and we haven't taken too much damage, we can take a Grass Knot from Thundurus. So that's just a nice, generally bulky set that's going to be able to put in a lot of work offensively as well on the pivot and on the switch. So speaking of putting in offensive pressure on the pivot and the switch, we have our AV Electros with max defense, as is tradition. This has Drain Punch, U-Turn, Thunder Punch, and Rock Slide, because as you can see, again, besides the Gengar, that hits everything on his team super effectively, except for, I'm sorry, it doesn't hit the Virizion super effectively, but I didn't feel like that was really, I mean, I guess it technically does with U-Turn, but this Mon was pretty much just to come in on hits, U-Turn out. It's got Thunder Punch for things like Staraptor. He has a couple of other things that Thunder Punch hits really nicely, like Tentacruel, I believe. But, or do I have Tentacruel? I don't know. I can't remember. Somebody in this matchup had Tentacruel. I've prepped for like 3 matches today. I'm a little bit behind mentally. Sorry. So I'm crossing wires a lot with all the different prep and stuff I've been doing today. But this Electros set really is just meant to be putting in work, recovering with Drain Punch on things like the Tyranitar, on things like the Virizion. I guess technically in this matchup, those are really the big 2. And just dealing nice damage all around while being bulky and pivoting out. Finally, next up we have Gliscor. Now this is a much different Gliscor set than I've brought in the past. This is SD, Rock Polish, Facade, and Earthquake, because that destroys his team. EQ, after an SD, will easily take out Tyranitar. It will take out Gengar, and I believe the rest will all just fall over to a Facade. Flygon may be a little bit of a problem, but this isn't my win con. This is something I'm trying to get in and just deal massive damage all around to his team that will make it a lot easier for Scolipede to sweep through, because I really don't even, like, with the right amount of chip, I don't even need the SD for Scolipede. The SD is really if I get in and his Pokemon still have a lot of health. And I can, like, for example, if he specs locked into Grass Knot and I get in the Scolipede, that's a free SD. I have every opportunity to do it there, and that's really why I brought it this week. Instead of bringing another coverage move that could have hit something like Virizion or something like that a little bit more effectively. So next up, we have our Mega Aerodactyl. This is Stone Edge, Ice Fang, Earthquake, and Pursuit. Again, the combination of moves hits everything, and he has a lot of Pokemon on his team that want to switch out of Aerodactyl, especially once I start revealing my moves. So I'm going to try and maintain Pursuit for as long as I can, but if I come in on the Thundurus, if I come in on the Gengar, something like that, I can very easily hit Pursuit, and that'll be the end of that. So finally, we have our Whimsicott. This is Prankster, Defog, sorry, Prankster, yeah, it's obviously Prankster. It's Defog, Encore, Moonblast, and U-Turn. Moonblast is going to be doing a lot of damage to that Virizion, as well as that Tyranitar. The U-Turn is just to maintain momentum. Defog is because, obviously, my Scolipede does not like having to come in on rocks. And Encore is because basically a lot of my setup this week kind of depended on Thundurus, because it has the coverage to hit everything on my team, but its coverage in particular is really easy to take advantage of. It's probably running HP Ice for the Gliscor, it's probably got Thunderbolt, it's probably got Grass Knot, and then it might have Volt Switch or another random coverage move of that nature. Maybe Focus Blast. I don't see what he would need Focus Blast for. Maybe, I mean, I'm not sure if it gets a move like Signal Beam or something like that, but definitely something that could blow through the Hoopa. Moral of the story, this thing is definitely a threat, but I also think it's our best chance to set up, because Whimsicott, as long as we can catch him not going for the HP Ice, can come in on any attack, and I can lock him into it with the Encore. If he goes for the Thunderbolt, I can then switch right into my Gliscor and start the sweep, and if he locks himself into Grass Knot, I can go into Scolipede and do the same. So I really like etc. the team that we brought this week. I think this might be the first week where I did not bring Hoopa, which I have actually been misusing the entire season, but definitely scared of. As I said, like, it's very strange. I haven't been in a situation before where the most threatening Mon on his team to my team is the Mon that I'm trying to set up on, but I'm also still very scared of things like the Flygon. If that Flygon starts Dragon Dancing up, it can be a huge problem. I'm scared of the Tyranitar for the same reasons, and Virizion actually does a lot of work with Stone Edge, Close Combat, and Leaf Blade to my team as well, so definitely a scary battle here. I'm really not as scared about the Staraptor. The Staraptor is great for my Scolipede, and it's great for my Whimsicott. But everything else, I mean, it can do damage to my Aerodactyl as well, because Aerodactyl is kind of frail. But my defensive core in Swampert and Electros absolutely wall it. And I think Gliscor pretty much does the same, unless he's walking some weird HP Ice Staraptor set, which I did not anticipate him doing. So without further ado, we will just go ahead and hop into the game. I'm going to lead Mega Aerodactyl because I feel like it has the best lead matchup out of anything, and I'm very confident in my defensive cores. So I would like to start off with that offensive pressure right off the bat, and as you're going to see, he actually leads off with Thundurus. So this Thundurus, I was scared that it might be Choice Scarf, so I went ahead and switched out into my Swampert as he goes right into his Flygon. So this Flygon can't really do a whole lot to me. I'm just going to go ahead and set up the Stealth Rocks. He can always defog them away, but I'm going for the fattest of Ice Beams right now. So if he defogs this, he loses his Flygon, and I can very easily get the rocks back up later. But he chooses actually to go into Gengar, which I thought was really, really weird. That doesn't do a ton of damage. He reveals to be Black Sludge, so I'm like, wait, is this a bulky, in quotation marks, bulky Gengar set? I go right out to the Electros to tank whatever attack he wants to go for. He actually sets up the substitute, so this is a little bit scary. He chooses to go for the Will-O-Wisp. Thankfully, we do have enough strength. I don't think we have any attack investment, but we do have enough attack just naturally to break the sub with the Thunder Punch. So he is going to go for the disable, trying to disable my Thunder Punch, but I went for the U-turn here. I didn't predict that he would want to stay in and try and 1v1. Okay, sorry. I did not predict that he would want to stay in and try and 1v1 this Electros with the Gengar, because he can only sub up like 1 or 2 more times. I didn't anticipate him going for a sub there. I figured I could tank whatever hit he wanted to go for, and then U-turn out into my Mega Aerodactyl to hit Pursuit, because at the range he's at, Pursuit is going to knock him out, even if he doesn't leave. Even if he doesn't switch. He's obviously a bulkier set because he's got Black Sludge. I know I'm going to outspeed, and that's pretty much exactly what happens. He is going to withdraw the Gengar as we Mega Evolve and hit Pursuit. And we are going to go ahead and take our first kill of the match, knocking out that Gengar, which is really, really nice, because that's going to allow me to freely kind of spam Facade on my Gliscor if I get it in. And he is going to go right out here in a Tyranitar, so I see that I pretty much live any hit he wants to go for, and I'm going to go for the Earthquake here. So I hit Earthquake. He is going to take 66% of the health, and he's actually going to Pursuit, predicting me to switch, which was not a bad play at all, but I really had no reason to switch there, just because Earthquake does so much damage, and he probably would have been better served doing something like a Stone Edge, although I probably would have gone into Gliscor here. I'm sorry, I probably would have gone into Swampert, because this thing does get Ice Punch. That's something I was very well aware of during the match. I did not want to bring in my Gliscor on this thing, thinking it was free setup. I'm not going to scare him out. Well, at this range of health, I could definitely scare him out, but at where he was at, there's no way I could scare him out. And I need both the Rock Polish and the Swords Dance in order to sweep his team, or at least to deal significant damage with this Gliscor. So I didn't see this Pokemon being a Pokemon I could set both of those up on. So here, after the Earthquake, I anticipate that he would want to save this Tyranitar, because if it is a Dragon Dance set, he can always bring it back in later and Dragon Dance up on the Electros. I mean, he can't because I have Drain Punch, but he doesn't know that at this point. Like I anticipated that he would want to save this Tyranitar. So, and on the other side of that, he has 3 Earthquake switches, 4 Earthquake switches, because Virizion does not take much from Earthquake. Thundurus takes nothing from Earthquake, Staraptor takes nothing from Earthquake, and Flygon takes nothing from Earthquake. So he has ample switch-ins to an Earthquake. So here I'm going to fire off the Stone Edge, because it definitely knocks out this Tyranitar, and it will catch the Staraptor and the Thundurus on the switch. It doesn't really hit Flygon on the switch, but I know for a fact I'm going to outspeed, and at this point I'm fairly certain I'm going to outspeed. No, I know for a fact, because he revealed that he had Toxic, and I didn't think he would be Scarf Toxic, because that doesn't deal very well with my Scolipede. Like, if he was going to be a Scarf set, it would be a set that he would want to come in on the Scolipede and knock it out. You guys get what I'm saying. If he was Scarf, he would have different coverage moves, and I could just go ahead and hit him with an Ice Fang and take him out. So here I'm going to hit the Stone Edge. Well, I'm gonna click the Stone Edge button, and we're going to miss the Stone Edge. So that's really unfortunate, because he is going to connect with his Stone Edge and knock me out. So we do lose our Mega Aerodactyl, which put in a lot of work pressuring his team, because from what it seems like now, Staraptor is pretty much the only thing on his team that I see being Scarfed. I'm going to go ahead and Moonblast at this Tyranitar. I'm not really trying to play games with the U-turn. It's not going to knock him out, and he's obviously not going to switch, so because he didn't last turn, which would have been a great turn to switch. So here, he freely gets into this Staraptor, and this is pretty much the only situation where this thing is going to be doing any sort of work. He's going to go ahead and hit Brave Bird, and that is going to bring me down to 64%, 58 after the burn. So that's a little unfortunate that we did get burned, because as you're going to see here, he's going to switch into Thundurus, expecting us to do the Thunder Punch, and we actually hit Rock Slide, and that's going to do 31%. That would have done a lot more damage and pretty much made it to where his switches were limited to 1 or 2. He is going to Thunderbolt here, as I am just going to U-turn out. being able to tank the hit, seeing what he wants to go for. I can freely go right here into my Whimsicott. I'm just going to Encore him into Thunderbolt, which is really nice, for me at least. And he is going to get the paralysis. So in my mind here, the play is to U-turn, because if he decides to switch, that will give me the switch initiative. Like, if I hard switch here into Gliscor, and he goes into something like the Virizion, which is going to be which I obviously cannot set up on, then that is not a good situation for me to be in. And I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. That is just not a good situation for me to be in. So I try to U-turn on this turn, but as you're going to see, again, the Hax is not with us. We're going to get paralyzed on this turn after tanking another Thunderbolt, and we are going to not get off our U-turn and switch. So that's really, really unfortunate, but he is still Encored, so I'm going to go out here into Gliscor. Now, I know the Encore ends after this turn, but the purpose for doing this was to switch into Gliscor and then switch right back out into Swampert, because he will HP Ice if he has it, which, as you're going to see, he does. So that's good information to have. This thing was really here mostly for Tyranitar, so I don't mind sacking it off here to the Grass Knot, especially because now that he has revealed that he has Grass Knot, I can go right here into Whimsicott, hope that I don't get paralyzed, and hit it with the Encore, which we do, and he is going to be locked into Grass Knot. Now, I've learned from my mistakes. He is not switching. He is not, I mean, in my mind, he's not switching. He has not switched this entire game, and he's going to switch right out Hardens to Virizion, but that's okay, because I actually opted to go into the Scolipede here, because it eats the Grass Knot really, really well, and we're going to be able to get our SD up, because there's nothing that Virizion can do to knock me out. And now we are +2 and +1, so this Flygon is at 94%. We're going to hit the Megaform. It's going to bring it down to 4%, but instead of Earthquaking, he actually chooses to Roost. So now we're going to be outspeeding any Scarfers on his team, and it all just comes down to hitting our moves. We do hit this Mega Horn here, which is really nice to knock out the Flygon, but Earthquake is the only 100% accurate move we have, and it does not knock out any of these Pokemon. So I have to hit a Mega Horn here as well to knock out the Virizion, which we do, and it goes down. So now he is going to go out into his Staraptor, and this is something I could definitely see, because I think it's become very apparent through the game so far that his best chance of winning this game is with Thundurus. As long as I can live 1 HP Ice with Gliscor, I could at least get the agility or the rock polish off and take it out with a Facade, but the chances of me living it are not great. And so with all that in mind, I choose to pop the Rock Z move here and knock out the Staraptor, because if I miss the Rock Slide here and he knocks me out, and he ends up being Scarfed, then he can just start denting my whole team. I could have probably set up with Gliscor if he was Scarfed, now that I think about it, but my play there was definitely, because I can't hit him with Earthquake, Rock Slide is my most accurate move. You do see that we do hit Knockout, take our win. We are now 5-5 in the IBA, which is really, really exciting. We have 2 games left, one versus the Neki, who 6-0'd us last time, and then one versus, what's his name? Eric, who we did beat last time, but is a fantastic battler. So the season is far from over, even though we only have 2 games left. They're very, very important games, because right now we are sitting at 3-1 in my division. So if we can win these last 2 games, we will lead our division and actually secure our first ever draft league. Well, not our first ever draft league format playoffs, because I did win a championship in a tournament, but this will be our first season long, like, consistently playing to the level that I would like to be playing all the way through the season. So that would be really, really exciting. It's definitely going to be hard to do. Again, great game to Ben. I've always enjoyed playing Ben. We usually have good games, and I just felt like I had really, really good prep this week to handle what he had. Another thing that I did forget to mention in my prep section that I was proud of, that I'll bring up real quick. The last game, he brought Garbodor with weak armor and Explosion. And I protected on it with Scolipede. So that was how I handled that last time. But to handle that this time, I actually brought Damp Swampert, which would mean that I would always switch in the Swampert on the Garbodor, and if he tried to explode, then it would kill him but do no damage to me. So that would be really, really nice. Again, great game to Ben. that the end game there was a little bit scary because I had to hit 3 Mega Horns in a row, followed by I think 2 Rock Slides. I guess only 1 Rock Slide because we did pop the Z move. If we had missed the Rock Slide on the Thunderous, the only thing he could have done to take me out would have been to use Thunderbolt. Like, any of his other moves that he had would not have taken out the Scolipede from the range of health I was at. So he basically would have had to go for Thunderbolt, which would have basically meant I could have gone into Whimsicott and encored him, and then just hard switched out into Gliscor and won the game with Facade. So great game to Ben. We do win 4-0, which is really, really nice for differential's sake. We've had a lot of our losses have been 3 or 4-0s, while a lot of our wins are usually 1 or 2-0s. So differential-wise, it is really nice to grab the 4-0 this week. Probably could have been better if we had not lost Aerodactyl on the Stone Edge miss, but at the end of the day, really, I guess we wouldn't have lost Swampert either if we would have just gotten into Gliscor and gotten the SD Rock Polish up on the Thunderous. So, again, a lot of things that could have happened, but I'm not complaining at all about how the game shook out. I'm very, very happy to have won, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, all the bullshit. I will see you guys next time. Peace.